Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Gemini is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And a Two of Cups to begin. This, I think 2024 is off to a great start when we've got love, right? We've got love. And connection. And a sense of purpose. And a sense of meaning, right? A sense of destiny. A sense of connecting with that which is meant for us. Very lovely. Let's put that into some context, all right? Let's see what's going on with that love. Well, we've got a 5, right? Now, the five of swords here, it's kind of, we have a head and a heart issue. We have thinking and feeling, right? So we're feeling some way, but it's almost like our mind is just like, doesn't want to believe it. You feel all this good love in your life, but you're just like, nah, something's got to be wrong with it, right? Well, now we've got a 10 of Cups. And a princess. We got a 5 of Pentacles too, all right? And we've got another court card here. I think there is a younger female energy in your life that there's some kind of an issue with money with them. I don't know if they're, well, see, now we're getting the prince too. Maybe it's something to do with maybe your children if you have kids, but I feel like there's some younger people running around here, and there might be an issue with money and with perhaps their spending or something like that, okay? We've got the Fool energy. And we've got the Emperor. We've got a Fool and an Emperor, right? There's a contrast for you. And we've got another court card. Now we've got a Prince of Cups. So a lot of court cards here, okay? So I think that there is a family issue going on with you right now. I think it has to do with money. But let's see how this might be resolved. First, let's take a look at the mystery card. Let's get this selected anyway. We'll put it aside for later. And let's see. It feels good right there. We're going to set this down over here. We'll put Tiny Bob Ross right there. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, all right? It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during the reading you feel like you know what that card is, I want you to put your prediction down in the comments, okay? Let's do it together. Let's make it a group exercise in intuition, okay? So, looking around the room here, these are our major arcana, Fool and the Emperor, all right? And that's a major contrast, right? The Fool is kind of, the Fool is free. The Fool has no awareness, has no discipline, is kind of inconsiderate, just is really kind of frivolous, right? Kind of spendy, kind of not very good with money, right? Doesn't have the same kind of concerns as the Emperor might have. The Emperor has to kind of take everything into account, has to be somewhat predictable, has to stay on budget, has to stay disciplined. The Fool can be spontaneous. The Fool can be frivolous and can just kind of go wherever the spirit might lead them. Not so the Emperor, right? So I feel like there's this contrast between these two ways of going about things. We want this kind of freedom. We want this kind of whimsical life. We want to be able to follow our interests, follow our spirit, follow our curiosity. But at the same time, and that to me is really the heart and mind, right? Our heart wants this freedom. Our heart wants love. Our heart wants adventure, wants transcendence. But our mind and our Emperor are thinking, I got to stick to the plan here. I got to have discipline. I've got to keep everything under control. And I do think it's, for some of you, there are these younger family members who might be, they might be influencing us a little bit, I think, to have this kind of a conflict, this kind of a dilemma, right? But anyway, we've got our majors. We definitely have some fire going on here. We've got our water energy. And the water energy really is interesting at the end with the Prince of Cups here, because I feel like at the end of the day, and I apologize for my voice, I've been doing a lot of talking today. By the end of the day, you're going to find a way to reconcile the heart and the mind, because the Prince of Cups is air of water. The air is inside here being expressed through the water, right? So I feel like you are finding a way to have this kind of love, have this kind of connection, have this kind of freedom, and this kind of this curiosity, right? This transcendence, but at the same time, you're able to maintain your discipline, and we're able to, I think, correct any of this kind of this financial difficulty that might be happening now, which I kind of feel like there's a financial situation that's looming over your life right now because of this Five of Pentacles, right? Now, this could be that there's a younger family member that might be suffering from an illness right now. For some of you anyway. Now, I'm not a doctor, I can't diagnose, but I feel like that maybe is putting a strain on things financially as well, because there's this uncertainty in the physical environment, right? Either health or wealth, fitness, finances. And this is kind of our need now to stabilize this. So a lot of our energy is being devoted toward maintaining this physical environment and reestablishing some structure, some order, and some stability there, okay? But at the same time, we want the best of both worlds, right, is what I'm trying to say. We want time for business. We want time to play, right? We want to have our cake. We want to eat it too. We want to have freedom, but we want to have structure and order and discipline. We want to have stability, but we also want transcendence, okay? We want to be spontaneous and flexible, but we also need that discipline, right? I do think that there's someone close to you in your family that's dealing with a respiratory illness. It could be same with that Five of Pentacles. It could be that there's a sick relative. So a lot of our attention is being being devoted to taking care of people, right? And that might be part of this. The Two of Cups here. You have a lot of love in you. You've got a lot to offer the world. You've got a lot to give, you know. And I think that a lot of your water energy, a lot of your love and compassion, a lot of this nurturing, healing energy is being devoted to other people in your life that need you lately, right? But I wonder if this new year, I wonder if this is a turning point for you. I wonder if this is where you start to really acknowledge some of this Five of Swords stuff going on, where we're just like not satisfied with life, you know? You want to be the caregiver. You want to take care of people in your life. You want to nurture and love people and heal people. But you also want freedom and love. You want healing. You want joy. You want to live a satisfied life as well, right? So when we look at these fives, it's kind of like these fives are always, you know, they're always putting an issue. They're always it's always this force that just comes in and like pierces our plans, interrupts our aspirations, right? You've got this water energy here, but then there's always something. And maybe this is how life has typically been, that you have these goals and aspirations. You have a Ten of Cups underneath the surface within you. You want things. You have desires and needs. You have like this picture of your perfect, happy life. You know what your soul wants. You have these yearnings. You have these aspirations. But I kind of feel like life always happens. Life always gets in the way. There's always a struggle. There's always something to worry about. There's always something that needs you, someone that needs you. There's always something pulling your attention away, right? From fulfilling your spiritual desires. Well, I think the Fool here has the right idea, because the Fool is asking you, what are you holding on to? What is it that is preventing you from fully abandoning yourself to living this spiritual life of fulfilling your soul desires, of living a life that is full of meaning and richness and value? Not to say that what you're doing now doesn't have the meaning or value, but I think in a lot of ways, the stresses of life are getting in the way of what your soul is really yearning for, right? Now, I think you find a lot of fulfillment in the work that you do, in the healing and taking care of others, that sort of thing, in being the one, I think, responsible for the family, because we see a lot of these court cards here, right? So I think you're kind of the one that's responsible for the family, very emperor, but at the same time, you have this, gosh, I don't even know the right word for it. You have this longing, you have this yearning within you that wants to release it, wants to transcend. But you have obligations, right? And this isn't something that we're very comfortable admitting, I think. That we have these responsibilities to our loved ones, to our family. We're in charge of things. Maybe this is a work thing more than a family thing. Could be. It's not something that we like to admit that, hey, some days I just want to abandon it all and go have this, this kind of, wanderlust, to have this completely free and fool kind of lifestyle. It's not what we're not abandoning everything, but we are holding on to this idea that we have to put our spiritual aspirations, let's call them, right? Our true needs and desires, that we have to put those on hold because of our obligations to others. Okay? That, I think, is the real dilemma here. Not so much that we can't decide whether we have to be emperor or fool. See, it's not one or the other, right? Because we can't completely deny our own yearnings and aspirations, nor can we completely abandon our obligations and our responsibilities, right? So we need a blending of the two. But I think we are holding on to this idea that everything's going to fall apart if I'm not responsible for it, right? If I'm not mostly emperor, everything's going to just kind of turn to shit, right? Pardon my language. Everything's going to crumble down. And I think that's really part of this Five of Swords, right? That we're kind of, in some ways, we're relying on the Five of Pentacles to keep us locked into what we're doing, right? So we're saying, well, there's always going to be trouble. I have to be here to take care of things. Therefore, I can't pursue what my fool energy really wants. I can't do this work here because I'm needed here. Okay. So I think we are holding on to something like this, right? And the Fool is a card that says, hey, we don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to be the one to solve everybody else's problems. We have to be there. We have to fulfill our responsibilities. We have to take care of our obligations. Yes, of course, right? No question about it. But we also have an obligation to ourselves, right? To our own spirit. And I think, honestly, with the Princess of Wands here, I feel like there is another party that can share in some of the responsibility here. I feel like you're trying very hard to be disciplined and organized and take care of business and be responsible, but there's some other person or some other energy or some other force in your life that is not being very responsible. You try to save $1 and they end up spending $2, right? So I think there's a little bit of an imbalance there. Like you're trying to be the one that really is like tightening your belt, sticking to the budget sort of thing. And there's somebody else that's not really following suit. They're not helping out in that way, right? But this isn't a reading about anybody else. This is a reading about what your desires are. And I think that you're getting this these kinds of energies right now because this is meant to be a turning point for you. This is supposed to be kind of that wake up, and I wonder if we're going to get the Eon Judgment card as the mystery card. And this is kind of, this is saying that we have to wake up to our spiritual desires. We have to really accept who we are, accept what it is that we need in our life in order to live a life that is valuable, that is rich and full and meaningful. Yeah. It doesn't mean that we have to abandon anything else. But we have to add to it. We have to kind of, we have to find the right kind of a blending, right? The right mixture. Maybe the Art or Temperance card is the mystery card. Because I feel like you have this undeniable love, this undeniable yearning and longing for something in your life. Maybe it's this idea that you want, that you're looking for love, romance, right? But your obligations at home or with family or friends or at work or whatever feel like they're preventing you, feel like they're in the way of that. Yeah. Or you feel as if your responsibilities to this other area, these other people, are more important than what your heart and what your soul really want. Okay? I think something's happening this year that's going to change that. I think toward the beginning of the year, within the first few months of 2024, I think you're going to meet with some sort of energy. Now, it could be in the form of a person, could be in the form of just an idea or of an inspiration, something that your heart really grabs hold of. And there's going to be no denying it. There's going to be no denying yourself, right? It's time, I think, for you to put yourself a little bit higher up the list of priorities. Okay. And with the Five of Swords, of course, we need to turn this card around. We need to start putting our own spiritual needs, our own spiritual life at the top of the list. We need to let Spirit take the wheel. We need to prioritize our own spiritual fulfillment, our own personal enrichment. Okay. Again, it doesn't mean to the complete neglect of our other responsibilities, but there needs to be a little bit of a reorganization here, a shifting of priorities. Okay. And instead of telling yourself that you can't, or you shouldn't, or maybe tomorrow, or yeah, I want to, but no. Now we're saying I will, I'm going to, and here's how, here's what it's going to look like. And we have to start expressing that to those people in our lives. And I think that's what the Prince of Swords is doing in this position, is letting us know that we have to begin expressing ourselves. We have to start kind of making that statement, speaking those words into existence, even if just to ourselves, right? In order to make it real. Right? And this might, of course, involve communicating our needs to other people in our lives. If it's our friends, our family, if it's coworkers or whatever, like expressing what our needs and desires are in such a way that it's not asking for permission, it's making a statement of fact. Okay. I do think that there's a father type figure that's very close to you right now. It could be dad, could be grandpa, could be an older sibling, or maybe an uncle or something like that. But there's a strong kind of authoritative male energy in your life, and I think that they're a strong influence on you. I think they've passed, but I think it's their energy that's still with you, and it's that energy of doing what needs to be done, taking care of business, even to the neglect of your own needs. Okay. I think there's something significant about this person's face or their head or something. I'm getting something with the head area. And it might even be, now I'm not trying to get too personal, but that might be part of the reason why they passed when they did, because they never put their own needs first, right? So even if they had something going on with them, they sacrificed the attention on themselves in order to take care of business. And so I think that some of that energy is still with you. Okay? And I think it's important that we learn from that. Now, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose anything. But I want to make sure that that you are putting your needs at the top of the list, okay? Especially when it comes to this water energy within you, so your kind of internal environment, you know. It doesn't hurt to go to the doctor, get a checkup, get the blood tests, right? Make sure everything is kind of squared away. Get a clean bill of health. But more than that, listen to your body. Listen to your internal environment. If something doesn't feel right, you know, make that a priority. Don't just put it off and say, well, I've got too much to do today, I'm going to worry about it tomorrow, okay? I think that's very important. Now, we're going to shift to the path of the serpent. As I do this, I'd like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free, it doesn't cost you anything. And leave a comment, let me know where in the world you're watching from. All right, I thank you. I appreciate all of you. Okay, if my voice will hold out, we'll talk about some of these energies. Now, we really talked about everything already, but the Prince of Wands here in your general energy, this is your ability to really persist, right? This is you, again, I think we get some of this from that father-type figure, which is this strength, which is that no matter what, you always have this this strength about you. It's almost this feeling of invincibility, right? And I think we need to do away with some of this, okay? Because this is, you have a bad headache, you ignore it. Something doesn't feel right inside, you ignore it. And you just have this, you know, this sense of commitment, of responsibility, of vitality, of robustness. It's almost an inability to admit any kind of weakness, right? And it's kind of what I'm starting to feel with the path of the serpent here. It's this unwillingness to admit that we have needs, that we have desires, that we want something else in life, right? Because we're just this this powerful force in life that can solve everybody's problems, that we can take care of any issue, that we can defeat any opponent, that nothing affects us, nothing weakens us, nothing can penetrate us or get to us, you know. And so I wonder if in your family there's been kind of a tradition of not really admitting the feelings, not really talking about the feelings a lot. I'm getting that, a bit of that kind of energy there. Because this is a lot of, you know, a lot of that kind of pride, I guess I would even call it. Okay. Now we talked about the Fool, and I think that the Fool really is this. The Fool is part of this reluctance, I think, to talk about or to express what we really are feeling, what we're really desiring, right? Because there's this assumption that we're going to be misunderstood, right? There's this assumption that we want people to see us as this powerful being. But if we start to talk about these other things, people aren't going to understand, right? And it's going to make us look a certain type of way. And so to me, there's kind of this, it leaves us with only two options. We either stay in this fire emperor kind of energy that we're in, or we completely just run the other way and do something completely extreme, go live our lives how we want to, but away from all of this. So it's kind of one extreme or the other, right? And I think that's why we've got these two major arcana, and they're sitting right next to each other, and they don't really, it's hard to figure out how they would blend together, right? But that's really, I think, what we need to try to do. We need to at least carve out some time. We need to be able to communicate our desires and the way we want to live our life. We need to at least carve out some time in our day to do that. We need to, if we have to schedule in some time just to play, just to be free, just to run around, just to be silly, right? Just to be anything but the emperor, right? To just be free, to be quiet, to be weak, to be vulnerable, right? To be open, rather than to be so rigid and locked up like this, like the emperor figure. Now, it's very interesting that we've got the Prince of Wands here, and we've got the Prince of Cups here with fire and water. Big, big difference, right? Big, big difference. And either way, we see this kind of commitment. We have the air energy inside both the water and the fire. So to me, this is kind of a shifting of life. Now we're shifting our perspective no longer from this this position of fire, right? That everything is a challenge and we are the force. You know, we are the one who knocks, right? We are the danger. That we have to approach everything as the active force that is influencing everything else, that we are that dynamic and active energy exerting our will onto the world and fixing all the problems. The contrast is then the yielding, that we are trying to draw into ourselves that which we need. So it's no longer the outward expression, but it's the inner magnetism. It's the drawing in to us, right? And so I think that this is really a big shift in the way you approach life. Yeah. And I think this really has to do with some of this air energy, some of this commitment that you have to now prioritizing yourself, right? And to attracting to yourself that which you need. Yeah. Because that's not what this is fire. This is burning. This is shining a light on everything else. This is, we're expending a lot of energy outwardly. But now we have to draw some energy into ourselves. Yeah. And this, I think, is a really big shift for you. And this, to me, it's all about prioritizing yourself. Prioritizing your needs. Again, not to the neglect of all of your responsibilities, but to the benefit of yourself, because you really do, you need to make this shift for you. Okay. And I think 2024 is the year that this has to happen. Now, we're going to look at this mystery card and see. I thought maybe this would be the temperance card, showing the way that we can kind of have best of both worlds, right? But now I don't know. I'd still like to see the art or temperance card. Now, if you have a prediction, put it down in the comments. All right. That's all I'm getting is the art or temperance card here. So we'll see. Hopefully it will be that. Let's take a look. No, we've got a 9 of Wands now. See, the 9 of Wands, again, it's this strength, it's this commitment, it's this refusal to admit that we're kind of playing a losing game here. You know, I think it's a stubborn energy. I think you're an intensely strong, devoted, committed person, but I just feel like you don't know when to ask for help. You don't know when to say, I'm tired. Yeah. But I think this is the year. I think, like I said, within the next few months, something is going to come your way that it's going to be undeniable. Okay? And it's going to be of such importance to you that you're going to find a way to put your fire down, put your wands down, and say, I need something more. This is something that I want to pursue. It could be, it could be an interest. It could be a person. It could be a creative thing. It could be an avocation. It could be, anything that you feel such love for that there's no way you can deny yourself it, okay, or the pursuit of it. But I think you're intensely stubborn. I do. And that's not always a bad thing, I think it's served you very well, but we have to recognize that you need more. Okay? You've got to put yourself first. Sometimes, anyway. Now, we're going to do an extended reading, Gemini. If you want to stick around, click on the link that's either in the corner or down in the video description. New Gemini readings every Tuesday and Friday, but I'm here every day. You can just come back, see me again tomorrow, okay? If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. Leave some comments for me. Let me know how you're doing. Okay? I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.